Hello everyone, my name is Riya Patel and I'm a student of Master of Communication. And today I'll be presenting about my co-op work term placement. And for my co-op placement, I was placed at an organization called Canary. So Canary is a non-profit organization. It was established in 1933 and it's mostly funded by the government of Canada. Along with 13 provincial and territorial partners. Canary forms Canada's National Research and Education Network, NREN, which is an ultra high-speed network which ranges coast to coast, just like seen in the image. It is a high-speed network which supports the Canadian research and education community. Canary collaborates with its NREN partners, government representatives, academia, and private sector partners to fund, implement, and support cybersecurity initiatives. So this is something apart from NREN services that Canary supports and provides. It also provides identity management services to the academic community, and it boosts Canada's startups community with providing them with resources like cloud services and expertise in emerging technologies. And it also funds and promotes development of research softwares and supports national efforts to manage data generated from research. So these are some of the programs and services that Canary offers. About Canary's organizational units, organizational structures. So Canary has a board of director and executive team, which looks after the decision making, policy making, and strategizing aspect of functioning. And Canary is divided currently into 14 different departments, ranging from administration, external relations, software and application development, cybersecurity, program operations, and so on. And currently there are more than 70 employees working at Canary and supporting its vision and mission. So I was recruited at External Relations Department. So more about the department. External Relations Department comprised of 8 members, which included the Vice President of External Relations and Senior Director. It looks after all the marketing activities along with all the communication policy activities. So it looks after all the communication that was initiated towards the internal as well as the external stakeholders and members. So the stakeholders included affiliated partners, institutions, organizations, startups, government representatives, audience connected to Canary through various services and programs, and internal team, which is Canary staff. I was added to the team as a marketing and communication assistant for fall 2022. I was supposed to report to the manager of marketing communication, Julie Bortolotti. And at Canary, my roles and duties included social media audits and analysis, audience research analysis project, content development, and supporting the event. So something that I was actively involved was content development, that is writing and creating written materials, visuals, graphics for social media, for website, for web, and other sources. I was also actively involved in working on an audience research project, which was something that they all wanted me to work on, which was very clear to me since the beginning of my term. And it included conducting research to better understand the Canary's social media follower and newsletter subscriber audience. Another aspect was conducting audits and analysis of the social media analytics and social media audience base to understand the audience base and its demographics and deliver content better accordingly. And last but not the least was to get involved in supporting logistics, planning, and promotion of the events and hosting the events that happen at Canary and other conferences and events. So the tasks were I worked, as I said, I worked on the audience research project, which involved working with the Canary's distribution list and other sources of data. I carried out research and data analysis for various events, projects, and programs, like managing the registration tool for Canary Summit 2022 and to monitor and populate the data sources for different programs and doing research about the data, like researching more about the regional incubators and startups that could be potential Canary partners and members. And so researching more about them and developing data sources that had all the information related to them and various such other projects. Coordinated communication between various stakeholders through emails and through other communication sources. Supported Canary Summit 2022 in terms of hosting, logistical support, and event management. I drafted written materials like emails, bios, announcements, web copies. I also produced content for social media, which included messages, visuals, and graphics. I carried out other administrative tasks as required, like coordinating any specific program or activity or event at Canary office. Also designed business cards and digital cards. And for the project, I was involved with various other departments like cybersecurity department and IT department. So I got to also talk to a lot of internal staff and stakeholders. So very interesting duties assigned to me, and I enjoyed working at Canary. And talking about the main projects that I was involved in two main projects throughout my term, along with other projects that were going on. But like the two main were the content development and Canary audience research project. So in content development, I was involved in developing content for social media. Canary used three social media channels to communicate with its stakeholders, which were LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And I created content for all of them. And the content was mostly related to announcements, events, conferences, and services. And I also created wrote emails, bios, posters. Then I designed website in terms of I was involved in updating website regularly. So I mostly worked with events page. So I designed and updated events page. I was also involved in continuous communication and coordination with internal and external stakeholders. And so there was a learning curve in this for me because one, I come from a very different background in terms of from a different country, and I'm used to a certain style of writing and certain style of communication. But here it's different, and it is different. It was different for me when I was working at Canary, because Canary also follows a specific style of writing, and it has a specific writing style and brand guidelines that we need to follow. So I had to adapt to it because Canary, one, it follows plain language, and the message should be very clear, concise, and short. And it should be at the tone of the communication should be very friendly and very, I would say, um, uh, like not too formal and not too high, I would say, high end in terms of tone, because that is something you expect from the professional world, that you have to change your communication to a professional setting, professional world where you communicating in a very formal tone. But it was very different for Canary. And coming from an academic background, being a student, I'm used to writing very academically inclined, in a very academically inclined style, in a very formal way. So I had to change that. But like my team and my manager supported me a lot in that, so that and they provided me with a lot of resources and like a lot of support and help at every step, so that I can learn it quickly and accommodate very quickly to it. Another project that I was very actively and diligently involved in was the Canary audience research project. It was something that was assigned to me right from the beginning, though I started working on it a bit late, because the initial I would say a month or so went in orientation, because there were so many departments and so many programs that they wanted me to understand first. So I started on this project a little bit late, but I was still able to do quite good in terms of what was expected from me. So basically, they wanted me to work on populating, managing, cleaning, and uh, systematically arranging the Canary distribution list, which is the Canary mailing list, which had a data set of more than 3,000 entries on it, which included the data related to all the Canary stakeholders, partners, people who joined Canary for various programs and softwares, and how they're connected. So where they come from, who they are, what sector do they belong to, what services are they subscribing to. So all the information related to them. And it was a huge data source which I had to deal with. So it was a task for me, but I collaborated with the manager of analytics and metrics at Canary, Harvey, and along with him, I was able to carry out the project uh, quite nicely. So I compiled populated Canary distribution list in order to complete the database, and I cleaned, sorted, and data performed various important data analysis using tools like Power BI, Power Query, and data modeling, in order to understand the audience demographics and engagement better, because that is something that they expected to know out of this project. And I developed a framework that would make it easier and automated the data analysis process for future. So it was something which they were very happy about, because they didn't have a personnel to work on it specifically. And since I was able to help them with this project, they were very satisfied with the data that was generated, and the data representation, and the work I did on this project. About learning and skills that I developed throughout this co-op term was, I got to learn about both communication and marketing as the field, because my role included aspects of both the fields. And so very interesting for me, because I got to learn about different field and different skills required in that field. And in terms of developing my written skills, I learned the use of plain language and how to be more clear and concise, and what kind of expectations are there in the professional world nowadays, because a lot of companies are shifting to a friendly, simple tone rather than having a formal, very, I would say, sophisticated tone. So it was a good learning and observation for me. I also developed a professional writing style through working with Canary's brand guideline and writing guidelines, because they have a very specific writing style guide. So I was right from the beginning and throughout the end, I could see the development in my writing style and the change in my overall tone and writing, like writing skills. So it's something which I have definitely improved upon. So I developed my overall written and oral communication skill because I got to communicate with a lot of people from outside Canary as well through events like Canary Summit and other conferences and events, and also with people at Canary. So a lot of interpersonal skills were developed in me throughout that process. I developed advanced research and analysis skills while working on audience research project and other research project. As I said that I had to do a lot of uh, data search and like populating data and analysis, and I used advanced tools like Power BI, Power Query, data modeling, and other coding um, functions and other tools like Cyber Impact, which I never used before. And through this project and through this co-op, I was able to learn those. So it's definitely something which is going to be very useful for me in the future. I also improved my design skills because yes, I have worked with design softwares like Canva before, but like here I was using it for a different purpose, for a different project and for a specific goal. And so I was able to use it better and use my skills and put them to the use for a in a better way. I also improved my like my knowledge about several softwares like Camtasia, WordPress, and other design tools. And other than that, I also learned several important softwares like SharePoint, Google AdWords, and Cyber Impact, some tools which are used in industry today, and I had not been exposed to before. So, very important learning for me in that sense. I also got to better understand the functioning of professional unit in an organization and the hierarchical structure that they follow and how the things flow in terms of workflow and the processes. So, and also being an international student, it's very important. It was very important for me to have a Canadian experience, work experience, to understand the Canadian working environment and work system better. So, this co-op like helped me in exploring that as well. And I learned how to manage and plan an event better because it is also something because nowadays everybody has to be knowledgeable about a lot of other things, like other than just their academic field, because it's like being an all-rounder. It's gonna keep you in a good state overall. So I also learned a lot of other uh, uh, interpersonal skills and network. So one of them would be networking because at Canary Summit, for example, I got to talk to a lot of people from the education and research community of Canada who have done very important researches and are of high importance and are very well established delegates. So I got to learn a lot from them, and I also made contacts, which is very useful for me in the future. I got to learn how to work in collaborations and in a team, how to multitask because I was working on various different projects at the same time. Um, One of the things that I loved about Canary was its importance about equality, inclusivity, and diversity, which something I have also, which resonated with me a lot, and I have also picked up in terms of a value. So that is something that I learned, and I have to meet deadlines because in communication it's very important to be time sensitive and work with deadlines. So something which I got to work with and work upon as an aspect for my professional development. And some of the skills apply that I got to apply here were like as a communication student, I have developed skills like active listening and importance of teamwork and nonverbal communication, some things which are very important when we go in the professional world. And I was able to apply them here. And thus, it was very interesting for me that how these things are applicable in the real world as well, because it's not something you just study about in your academics, it's also something that you apply. So then as a communication student, I have developed the the art of asking questions, I would say, and understanding the needs better, like what is required and how to cater it better. So asking a lot of questions, going to different people and providing and getting feedback and using that feedback for a better performance and being responsive to things. So this is something which I had learned the importance of throughout my academics and also like during the previous semester courses. So I was able to apply that knowledge here, and I was able to connect the concepts and learning from projects and subjects that I have learned at during my program. So it was very interesting and helpful for me throughout my co-op term. And overall, it was a very enriching experience for me because, as I said, I got to learn a lot of new uh, skills and new tools and new concepts. So a very, very useful experience for me. And I'm sure that this experience and what I have learned at Canary will definitely help me in navigating through my future endeavors better, and it will hold me in a good state when I go in the professional world. So I would thank everybody for listening to my experience, and I would love to answer any questions and would love to hear any comments about it. And I would also like to thank the co-op department for helping me getting this experience and helping me and supporting me throughout this experience. So, and my mentor, Victoria Kukits, who was able to provide me with this experience. So thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a good day ahead.